Welcome back to the Reset, episode 41 with me, Sean Tucker. I don't know. That phrase, I don't know, has been probably one of the most liberating phrases for me in the last 2 years. So to go back 2 years ago, what did I need to know so badly that I couldn't figure out? The fact that I didn't know what I should be doing in my business, I didn't know what I should even be focusing on. I didn't know even if I should be in business anymore. These are the questions that were coming up for me because I was so desperately trying to solve them. I was so desperately trying to prove myself. And if you're someone who's questioning where you're at in your journey of maybe running a business, maybe getting to a point in your career where you're like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, then this episode is absolutely for you because I don't know. Somehow, if you were born in a Western raised civilization like the US or any really English speaking country, I suppose, there's this idea that you need to know. And if you don't know, well, you're not good enough. And I think this honestly comes from our school system that we're raised in or that we learn in. Because what my experience of school was, is that if you didn't know, you were stupid. And I know that's obviously a very interesting reflection to hear back and hear as I just say. If you don't know the answer, then you're stupid. And this is, I commend teachers so much for the role that they do because teaching is not an easy job. When you're teaching in a classroom with kids that don't want to be there, right? They don't want to learn. And mostly because they've lost connection to what learning can actually do for them. Because for me, learning happens every single moment of every single day. I'm learning something new every single podcast episode that I do. I'm learning what's happening with my greyhound as he's chewing on some long grass just out of the frame of the camera. All right. If we have this idea that we need to know, and if we're too afraid to be vulnerable and a bit, well, maybe we don't know. Because in yoga or in Eastern traditions, not knowing is actually a really, really powerful thing because the idea of ignorance is bliss is not choosing to ignore something that you are too afraid to look at. No, it's actually, I don't know, but I'm willing to find out. And being so absolutely curious every single moment means that you don't have a knowledge base or a whole set or string of conclusions to things you know nothing about. And I'll use the Big Bang as an example or God as an example, right? These things don't have any real form. I mean, the Big Bang certainly does have a form, but who knows if that's how life started, right? It's the first thing that we can measure. That's what happened. That's when time started. But if you look at God, who is formless, or something that is formless, like how do you know it exists? All right, because you can't prove it. And this is why it's looking at the mind, the human mind and the intellectual mind, because when you start asking the questions of why don't you know, or you should have this figured out, it's not a mathematical problem, or it's not a chemistry. It's not a form problem. It's actually perhaps the answer that and I've said this before in many podcasts, the answer you are searching for is equally trying to find you. And so if you allow yourself the space and the freedom to open up to the possibility of, well, not knowing, but also the possibility of knowing, then the answers dissolve, the questions dissolve. You don't need to have an answer to a question that you no longer have a question for. And so if you're finding that you are stuck in a certain situation, if it's your job or your business, and you're really, really trying to force it, you're trying to force yourself into an answer, like you are the problem, or maybe you just need to relax. Maybe you just need to let it flow. Maybe you just need to let it happen. And this is one of the hardest things you'll ever do, because giving up control over a mind that demands control, like that is hard work, man. I'm not going to lie to you. That is hard work. And it takes a lot of courage, a lot of balls to face yourself in that respect. So if you are someone who is struggling and you want the time and you want the space where you can explore what it is that you are searching for, I'm open for coaching one-on-one and group coaching. My mission is to create unforgettable dads. An unforgettable dad to me is really simple. Someone who shows up, who chooses to show up, no matter what. He becomes unforgettable because the way that he moves people, the way that he does and goes above and beyond, because the very thing that he has inside him is so much love to share and so much love to give. And sometimes that comes through as tough love, but other times it comes through as just unconditional true love. So if you found today's episode helpful and you want support in becoming an unforgettable dad, maybe you're a little bit stuck. Maybe you want just a little bit of time, a little bit of space where you can explore what it is that you're really seeking. Then schedule a call, shoot me the DM, and let's get the conversation started. And if you found this episode helpful, just refer it to one person. If you got value from this episode, just share it with one person. And I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's episode. Thanks for tuning in.